Hello, hello! It is Thursday, December 1st, boy! I'm in a good mood today, and that might just be because, it is the first day of this project that me and Caine are starting. Ow. Ew. So the first, thing that we are going to talk about for the first two videos, I'm doing mine today, Caine's doing his tomorrow. We are talking about how we first met. And this, I've told the story a bunch of times, but worth telling again. So we met in January or February of 2010, and we met on this forum for a movie called Caine. If you don't know about it, that's fine, but you should totally watch it because it's really good. And we had started out, I guess, sort of interacting with each other, not even with each other. We had joined a roleplay group, and really our characters interacted before we even talked. My character was Rain, and his was 53, and they had met in the setting, which was a broken down hotel in the middle of a snowstorm, and they had started talking, and 53 had this interest for Rain. Rain was oblivious because that's how she do things. And that's basically how me and Caine kind of sort of interacted, I guess, for the first I guess maybe a week or so. And then one day I was having a bad day, and I came on and I was like, oh hey, having a bad day, kinda not feeling up to doing anything. And then it was quiet for a little while, and then I refreshed my page and there was a message. Now this was not the first message I got from him. The first message I actually got from Caine was telling me how much he liked the interaction between our characters. I responded by saying basically the same thing, and that ended our conversation for about probably 3 days. But then he messaged me again with the little subject title named "What's Wrong?" and he asked me what's wrong, and I told him, and that sparked conversation between the two of us for months. I'd like to say, well, I mean, we've been talking since then, but that one conversation with that one subject title, that went on for about 4 months, I think, which is very. It took up like 3,000 messages, like 3,000 messages just from him to me, so it was about 6,000 messages combined, like the two of us. And, so we basically became, like, really, really close. We talked to each other, like, every morning. Like, we would message each other, like, every morning, like, oh, hey, have a good day, you know, stuff like that. Or we would continue on from the message that we left off the night before. And we did that for a long time. And we became, like, best friends over it. Like, the thing that I looked forward to, like, every morning or every day was just to talk to him, because we had the best conversations, from what I recall. Like, I look back on our conversations, and I just start at a random point in the middle, and I don't know what we're talking about, because we literally take one conversation from the very beginning, and we just, like, go off of it, like, basically, for the entire thing. It's like a never-ending story. But we really did have great conversations. Oh my god. But aside from Caine, who I wasn't dating at the time, he was just a really, really good friend, I was in a relationship that I had been in for a little over a year at the time. I don't know the specifics, but I think in March of 2010, I was beginning to feel like I was distancing myself from my current boyfriend, and I don't know if that was really because of Caine, because I had kind of been feeling it for a little bit, like, I don't know, like, I just wasn't really feeling anything anymore, but I kind of kept it on the down low, because it was my first relationship. I didn't feel like, letting my current boyfriend down. It was stupid of me, but I did it. And so, it ended up that I would talk to Caine a lot more, than I would talk to my boyfriend. And, like, there were days when Caine would have a really, really bad day, or he would be sick, or he'd be, like, dealing with, like, the whole insomnia thing that he may or may not talk about. I really don't know. Or he'd be grounded for, like, 2 weeks, and I'd talk, and instead of talking to Caine, because I couldn't, I would go to my boyfriend, and I would just, like talk about this kid, and, I'd be like, oh, I'm worried about Caine, because at the time, like, my boyfriend knew who Caine was, because I had explained who he was, and I'm worried about Caine, I hope he's alright, and, and my boyfriend got tired of it, and he was just like, please stop talking about him, and I was like, that was the one thing that really turned me off, I think, that, because my boyfriend at the time he was always, like, really paranoid and always kind of jealous that, like, I would, like, fall for some other boy, and other boys would look at me and start to fall in love with me, and I would forget about him, and I guess essentially that's kind of what happened, but I didn't mean for it to happen. Like, I didn't think that I was in love with Caine. I saw him as a really, really good friend, like a best friend. And not to say that I didn't love Caine at the time, but I didn't love him in the way that a girlfriend would love a boyfriend at the time. But, Caine did return from a long, long time. He was grounded for a while, and I think this was the end of March going into April, and I think it was right after his birthday, I think. No, he was grounded, I think, before his birthday, and I spoke to him on his birthday, but then after that he didn't return until, I think the first week in April. And when he came back on, like, I just had all these emotions. Like, I was so happy to see that he was online, and he messaged me first, and he was like, oh my god, I'm on, hi, I missed you so much. And I think that's what he said. I mean, it was something along those lines. And I just felt so happy. I was ecstatic to see him online. Like, we didn't speak for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and we weren't dating. It was nothing. We were like best friends, and boom, emotions just poured out of me at just seeing him, and it was crazy, and it was fabulous. And then I guess that was April, and then we, went back into conversation. The two of us had started our own private role play. That was just between Rain and 53, and we were talking a lot about that, and we were talking a lot about just our lives, and just random stuff. Like, a lot of our conversations are actually just in all caps, and they're just silly things. But it's just really, really nice to just look back on it. Like, that's what we used to be. Like, we just used to be these two, like, kids. Because at the time, I was... Oh, God, I can't even remember my age. I was 14. Oh, my goodness, I was 14 at the time. I was 14, and I turned 15 on May 11th, and when we started talking, Caine was 16, Caine was 15. March 27th was his 16th birthday in 2010. I think I can't do numbers. I'm not a mathematician. So, really, when we started talking, we were only 14 and 15 years old. And, oh, my God. Oh, it feels so long ago. Oh, my goodness. So, like, just looking back on those conversations when we were, like, you know, like, you don't think like a year and a half is really, or like almost 2 years is a really long time, but it is. You change a lot. And our conversations, like, now, like, I know that they're different now because now we're dating, but just looking back on, like, what we talk about now and how we talk then, it's like this whole, like, transformation of, like, rowdy little, like, best buddies to us, like, right now. And I don't really know how to describe us right now, other than we're, like, a lot more mature now than we were then. But anyway, April was the first time that we started to talk about meeting up, and we talked about, and this was before we were dating. April was the first time we talked about meeting up, and we talked about meeting up, I think, both during the summer and for New Year's. I think we had planned out that I would see him for New Year's, like, go over to his place for New Year's. And, you know, his mom had given the okay, and we didn't know about the summer thing. I think she gave the okay for that too. Neither of those turned out to work, but I'll get to that some other time. So, you know, in April we were just like we were like right here, and maybe March, but in April, boom. We were like this. It was crazy. And then, May came around. Oh, May. May was my birthday. May 11th is my birthday. And my boyfriend at the time, remember, he was also long distance, so I had also met him on a forum. I had also met him on a forum. And for my birthday, my birthday was actually really uncomfortable. I wasn't really comfortable with my birthday with him. It was, I don't really want to go into details about it. It wasn't anything like nasty or anything. It was just uncomfortable because he was showering me so much, and it was too much. Like, he was the guy that, you know, like, do you know those guys that, like they give, like, gifts for, like, monthly anniversaries? And, like, we did that at first, and then it got way too much, and I told him, and then he kind of didn't like that, and it was weird. So my birthday came around, and I was really uncomfortable because, you know, if anybody's on a forum and there have been relationships formed on that forum, you may have heard of a forum wedding. That didn't happen with us. Instead, it was like more of a forum or proposal, and it was so uncomfortable. And I pretended. I feel so bad, but I pretended that it was good. I pretended that I liked it, and like, looking back on it, I wouldn't have been so okay. But back then, I was only turning 15. Like, it was my first relationship. I didn't know, like, if I should do something, if I should stand up for what I think. Like, I just wanted to make this guy happy, but then, I was unhappy, and it was, like, it wasn't working. So I think it was a week or two after my birthday that I finally told him that this isn't working. I think we need a break. And he blew up. My current boyfriend, he blew up. He was so upset, and he was like, why? I thought things were going so well. And that's also, like, my fault, because I wasn't telling him stuff. I wasn't saying, like, oh, well, I wasn't really comfortable with this, or, you know, I'm not really feeling it. Like, it just, I guess to him, it just was sort of out of nowhere. But to me, it was a gradual thing, but that's because I didn't tell him anything. So he was really upset, and he signed off, like, in rage, I guess. And at the time, I was really angry with him because I was like, oh, why don't you understand? I'm explaining this so well, but now that I look back on it, it's my fault. It's my fault that I wasn't, you know, really interacting. I wasn't, you know, telling him I wasn't saying anything about our relationship because I was just so adamant on keeping myself quiet and him happy when I wasn't really taking into account my own happiness. So that was a big mess. And so after he had, blown off, I talked to Caine about it, and Caine, he didn't, because he knew about the relationship. He had known about it for a while, and he told me, don't break up with him yet, try for a little bit longer, see how it goes. And, and I was like, you're the best. And that's when I told my boyfriend at the time, I don't want to say his name, I don't know, so I told him that, and then suddenly the boy that he thought would steal me away from him became the superhero that, yay, Caine saved the day, he's not a real jerk, he's not gonna steal my girlfriend away from me. Oh, I was silly. And it ended up just not working. I tried for maybe another week, and I felt so crushed inside. I felt so suppressed from that relationship, because I didn't even try breaking things off right away. I had said, let's take a break. It just wasn't working. My boyfriend at the time just clung so hard. He was so determined to make this last, but I don't think he realized that it was just crushing my soul. So eventually I had to break it off. I had to. And then, okay, I'm gonna get a little bit sassy. So I also had him on Facebook, and then other friends from the forum, not the 9 forum, the other forum, they were on my Facebook too. And then after I broke it off, I felt so great until people were messaging me, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Are you sure? I don't think you're doing the right thing. I think you should do it for a little longer. And I was so fed up. I had told the same exact story maybe 10 times and even just to the same 4 people. And it was so troubling, because I understood that these people were both mine and my now ex-boyfriend's friends, and I know that they were supporting us, but then they just started attacking me because I had broken it off, and it seemed so sudden to them, but that's because I didn't say anything. And so, I was getting attacked for that, and on Facebook, there was this little war between me and my ex-boyfriend, and, one of my past friends, they're probably still friends, and, they were calling me a bitch, and I was fighting back, and it was terrible, it was awful, and it was bad, it sucked so bad, and I didn't, I was hoping so hard that my boyfriend at the time would understand, but, of course he wouldn't, because he thinks it's so sudden, and, I don't know. So that didn't work out, and so I talked to Caine about it. I clung to him instead, because, these people were, attacking me, and not, they were trying to get me back into this relationship that I was very positive that I didn't want to go back into. And so after that, I talked to Caine, and, we talked for a little bit, and then, I was trying to still keep in touch with my ex-boyfriend, but I was just so upset, I was so, instead of just interacting with him just as exes, he was trying so hard to get me back that I backed off, it just pushed me away. And then he went on to say, oh, well, other couples, try to help each other out of this, by talking to each other. And I just couldn't do it. I feel bad. I really do feel bad that I couldn't, keep talking to him, but I really couldn't. And so we ended on a really, really bad note, and I haven't spoken to him in almost, basically in a year and a half. I haven't spoken to him in that long. I don't know how he's doing. I haven't talked to him. I haven't done anything. And that's my fault. But it was after I had gotten out of conversation with him that the fateful day, and I don't think it was actually May 31st. I think it was probably a week before, or about like 5 days before, that me and Caine had accidentally slipped that we had really, really liked each other for a little while, and this news got to my ex-boyfriend because I had talked to him about it. Like, I think I was still talking to him at that point, and you know, he was being accepting of it at the time. He was saying, "Oh, okay, can you please give me like another week just for me to get, you know, a hold of things?" And I said, "Sure," and Caine said, "Sure." Now, the thing that I feel really, really, really bad about is I don't think we waited a week. And I feel so bad about it. I do. And I think we waited like maybe like 3 to 5 days before we made it official. Like, oh, I felt so bad. And then, and that was around like May 30th or May 31st. And that was basically the journey of how I started dating Caine. I was attacked, not really attacked, but like I was ranted to by my ex one fateful night at maybe midnight when I was talking to Caine, and me and Caine were just having a really, really good time. Like, we were having like the best conversation, and it was the first week of June. I think it was like June 4th or something. And we were having a great conversation, and on Facebook, and then suddenly my ex-boyfriend came up, like his little dialogue box in Facebook came up, and I let him rant. I wasn't responding. I didn't want to say anything. What could I say? If I said something, it would have just gotten worse. It would have, oh God. And so he was like, "Oh, so you're not going to talk to me now?" It was just really bad. I don't want to go into details. It was just bad. It wasn't a good ending. And so after that happened, me and my ex finally said, you know, my ex said to me, at least, "I'm gonna delete you off my Facebook, like, because I can't do this anymore." And that was sort of mutual. I mean, if there was anything that came to the ending of that relationship, it was mutual, that we wouldn't speak to each other for a while, because things had been so riled up and so set on fire that it, like, we just had to stop, like, talking to each other for a long time. And actually after that, we never actually spoke again. After that one conversation where he said, we shouldn't talk to each other for a while, that was the last time I talked to him. And that was almost like a year. That was a year and a half ago. And that was the last time I talked to my ex-boyfriend, and that was when talking with Caine commenced further, but now as boyfriend and girlfriend. And looking back on it, again, I was 15. I'm 16 now. I'm still young. I still don't know a lot of stuff, but I still feel really bad that my past relationship had to end the way it did, and that it just seems sort of really bitter. It was sort of like a bittersweet mishmash. There's the bitter ending, but then the really sweet beginning of something. I don't know, it was just a really, really bittersweet sort of time in my life, as far as relationships went. And it was crazy. It was a crazy ride, but I don't regret it at all. I know that I did bad things, and I know that my relationship didn't end very well, and I know that I wasn't very fair. I don't regret not getting together with Caine when I did. I don't. Because what if, there's just a whole bunch of, what ifs. What if I didn't do this and this then? Where would we be? I don't, he's such, a huge, huge part of my life. Caine is a huge part of my life, that I don't regret anything. I don't even regret my past relationship, because if I had not been in that past relationship, I wouldn't have been with him. Like, let's be honest, I just wouldn't have. I wouldn't have, and I just have to be thankful. I'm really thankful that I'm in the relationship that I am now. So that's the story of how I met Caine and how we got together. I think I was only supposed to talk how we met, but I ended up going further because I'm an overachiever. So that was. So that's yeah, that's the end. That was how we got together. Now, Caine's going to do his video tomorrow on the same subject, but except from his point of view. And so it'll be a different story, because it won't have the whole gross sort of relationship business going on. I mean, I'll just let him talk about it. So, yeah, that's it. That's day 1 for you. Hey! Alright, I'm gonna go. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.